Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Coffee with Craig. Today I'm going to talk a bit more about Donald Trump and some of the predictions I've already made about his assassination attempt, some of the things that were said in the Indian Oracle and the warnings there that were given to him about this event, and also have a look at some of the things that are likely to happen now in the future. And I'm very concerned also about some of the things that have been happening as well around this whole event. How did the shooter, for example, get into that position? Who's behind it? Is there a hidden agenda to what happened with these terrible events where we nearly lost the life of Donald Trump? Anyway, welcome to the show. My name's Craig Hamilton Parker. I'm a psychic medium. I'd like to also just welcome all the new people that have been joining the channel recently. So welcome to Coffee with Craig. Well, hi again, and welcome to the show. And particularly welcome all those new people that have been joining the channel. So don't forget, if you are here for the first time, do remember to subscribe. And if you're a regular visitor, always please give it a thumbs up if you enjoy my show, because it helps the algorithm a lot. Nowadays, we are the victims of algorithms. So anyway, that is always very appreciated, and thank you. And leave your comments, of course, because there's a lot we're going to talk about today. But in particular, I just want to first look at some of the things, a bit of a retrospect about what happened with this, because I made a number of warnings, very strong warnings, actually, on the internet about the potential assassination attempt on Donald Trump going way back. And some of those video clips, which I'm going to show you in a second, date a long way back, because it was not only predicted by me, but it was also predicted by the Naadi leaves. Today we're going to do something extremely interesting, because actually this is a message for Donald Trump. President Trump, I have found your ancient oracle in India. I have been researching these things for years, and I have found a 10,000-year oracle that has your name written on it. And it tells about your past, your present, and your future. I was allowed to ask 5 questions. These questions were already in the oracle, but it required me to ask them. Will Donald Trump win a second term in office? Is he in danger of being assassinated? Who will succeed him as president? What is the most important highlight of his presidency, for good or for ill? These are for your ears only, but I'm going to give a few hints here about what has been revealed in the oracle. Bye for now. What I'm talking about here is an ancient oracle in India that is 5 to 10,000 years old, they reckon. It goes back to the ancient times of this idea of this pre-Diluvian civilization that existed at the time of the Ice Age. and has passed this information down over generations through these things called what they call the Naadi leaves, but this is actually the Brighu Samhita. Now, this ancient document was written in Sanskrit and then recopied over the centuries. We've carbon dated the documents, and they're 500 years old, but they're still being rewritten and rewritten every 500 years or less. So what we basically have here written in Sanskrit is the message for every individual that is ever to consult this oracle. Ordinary individuals are in there, great people are sometimes in there, but I've asked it on your behalf to find out your past, your present, and your future. And in particular, the oracle tells us some of the potential pitfalls you may have, but also some of the things that you can do, for example, to secure a second presidency. These are for your ears only, but I'm going to give a few hints here about what has been revealed in the oracle. Now, there are many very personal things written in this oracle, which I do not intend to reveal because they are for the individual's ears only. And they cover things such as health, they cover things such as things and secrets that have happened in one's life. And I feel that is my duty to pass this document on to you. It's not for others. But also, when you ask this oracle a question, you can also ask up to 5 questions. And those 5 questions, incredibly, are already written in there even before I decide to ask them. Question 2, will he be in danger or be assassinated? The oracle says no. However, it also gives a warning because he has not done the remedies suggested in his reading. If he does the remedies, there is no danger. However, there is a potential danger of assassination, not necessarily a death, maybe an assassination attempt. And again, this is one reason that I feel I must get this oracle to you, Donald Trump, because it says about this and other health issues that can be overcome by doing some very simple things suggested in this oracle. Next, I want to make my predictions for the USA. So I'm going to make a few statements as I go, but also I want to see what I can pick up. Because I'm trying to link into the spirit world as I do this at the same time. So first thing people have asked me about, and which I've already kind of said before, is who will win the 2024 elections. This is obviously important for the future of not just America, but the world itself. And I predict that Trump will win the November 2024 election. Now, I've been getting a few sort of thoughts about this, and some of this, like I say, is not always clear, but I feel there's going to be some attempts made to delay or stop the election. We're already getting that with the sort of movements we're getting, I think perhaps by throwing so much legal stuff at Trump, but I feel there's some crisis happening around Joe Biden as we near the election. And I feel there's going to be some legal challenges, I suppose, by Congress, is it, that I see for this, that want to change federal law. So it's as if something that's unchangeable can be changed. And efforts will be made to try to prevent the election itself. But I see pictures of this. Like I see Nancy Pelosi, but she's not there anymore, is she? But I feel that's perhaps just a reference in my mind for this. But I feel it will fail. I feel that will fail, and the people will see through it for what it is. So Trump will win. I feel Trump will win, but it's very close. And as I say, the future is not entirely, completely set in stone. So when something is as close as this, it can swing in different directions because nothing is finally predicted, because I'm seeing the trajectory of what I feel from the moment and what I'm sensing. Trump has still got to focus differently. He's got to focus on the positive, what he can do to rebuild America, the break with China, stopping illegal immigration, energy prices, and wealth creation. All those things are going to be very, very important to him. But I saw lots of pictures of the black vote, and I feel very strongly that the black vote is going to move towards Trump. See him as a sort of a bit of a cool guy because he's kind of fighting against oppressive forces. And my feeling is he's going to reach out to them. And as I've spoken before, I feel there's somebody going to be working with him, a black female woman that I've spoken about before, who's going to really sort of help Trump get back into power. It's the black vote that I think is ultimately going to swing that little edge um, there. And I see eventually because particularly because of AI and things like this, I just see people voting in the future physically with bits of paper and card, as opposed to using any form of technology. So my thoughts are that there might be something happening at the time with artificial intelligence, not necessarily coming from within America, as people will speculate, I feel, but coming from outside, that will try to disrupt the American voting system using artificial intelligence, artificial votes. And that's why votes in advance and postal votes will be seen as being impractical in the future. I can't see Trump being put in jail despite what they're throwing at him. I can't see a jail sentence with him. But I did see something else, and I'm seeing this a little bit now. There's a sort of a health scare for him. I felt this some while back, actually, but that won't stop him. There's a health scare that won't stop him. And also at the times of the elections, and I don't think it's necessarily on Trump, but I get the feeling one of the candidates has an attempt on the candidate's life. I'm sure this is happening all the time, things like this happening or being stopped. But this got very close. I get a feeling of something that came very close indeed. And like I say, there's a woman that will help Trump tremendously. I still got this flu as I'm talking to you, so apologies. So I think he'll have a female vice president who will be pivotal for his election success. I saw this woman as a woman with an ethnic background of some sort, plus candidates could be Carrie Lake, reminded me of Candace Owens. Somebody like this is going to swing the votes in his favor, because Trump also needs the women's votes, and this is how we'll regain them. He applies to the sort of macho, sort of American Bud Light haters, but I feel he's gonna gain the middle ground, and this is going to be very upsetting. I predict something very dark happens to President Joe Biden. What I'm seeing is, in effect, something that he's being pulled from power, sacked, as it were, and quite close to the election time. I'm seeing him kind of being removed almost at the last minute, being almost dragged off the stage. I feel him being carried off the stage. I don't know if that's symbolic or actual. And it's weeks before the election. And I feel that we've got, for a very short time, Kamala Harris in power, very short time, and then a scramble to find a new candidate. So something quite disruptive is going to happen to the presidential elections right at the very last minute. So I don't quite know how to interpret what I'm seeing with this. Sometimes I see sort of like clouds, like I say, clouds over events or clouds over countries. Perhaps it's the Hunter Biden scandal. Perhaps it's that I'm seeing. But I kind of sense it's more to do with illness, perhaps senility, and people stopping him because of that. Could there have been a plan to assassinate either him or Trump, perhaps? Because I get the feeling again that there's something where there's very dark forces involved here, very deliberate forces, not just the forces of natural things like illness. So it could even be that a new candidate will run for the presidential nominee. I was seeing Elizabeth Warren and Gavin Newsom, because I mentioned about Elizabeth Warren sometime in the past, but they would be a very unlikely team. But I feel that like two unlikely candidates come together, and I get Gavin Newsom and Elizabeth Warren. It feels as if those two kind of bury the hatchet and try to work together to put either or both of them into presidential position and vice president position. And with all this dark stuff too, I see Hunter Biden will eventually go to jail, but not yet, not in 2024. Strangely enough, I also feel that there's going to be, that's just making something else come to mind, because I feel there's going to be some move to pardon Assange. There's going to be some move to pardon both Assange and Snowden. Now, there's another Nostradamus prediction that seems possibly to relate to these things. That's Century 157. It says, "The trumpet shakes with great discord, an agreement broken, lifting the face to heaven. The bloody mouth will swim with blood, the face anointed with milk, and honey lies on the ground." Weird sort of way of making a prediction, to be honest. But look at the words. Trump again. The trumpet shakes with great discord. What's that? Is that an angry President Trump? Hello, I'm Craig Hamilton Parker. I'm a psychic, and I'm going to be doing some readings today on Donald Trump. Nostradamus definitely saw Donald Trump. It's mentioned a number of times in the text of Nostradamus. He talks about a trumpeter, a trump. The one that's the most interesting that people have looked at is it says the false trumpet concealing madness. This obviously raises questions about Donald Trump's sanity. But the one that I find most interesting is where it says, "The trumpet shakes with great discord, an agreement broken, lifting the face to heaven. The bloody mouth will swim with blood. The face anointed with milk and honey lies on the ground." Could that be an assassination attempt? My feelings are that he won't die somehow through an assassination attempt, but there will be some attempt on his life at some stage. I also feel that there will be a car accident of some sort that will affect other members of the Trump family. So that's some of the things I said. Now, it's also interesting to see a little bit more depth now, perhaps, in some of the clips from what was said by the ancient Indian oracles. And we can perhaps get a few hints here about how these things might pan out. Well, but let me just give you some thoughts here, because sometimes when we revisit the oracle, and I'd like to tell you all of it, but there are one or two things in here that are a little bit just too heavy to put out there, because it's you know, I don't want to be sort of accused of slander or anything like that, so I'm going to keep to the basics of it. And also, this of course is Donald Trump's Naadi, so you know, a lot of this is very personal to him, so I can't share those things. It's not fair. I wouldn't want anyone doing that to me, and no matter who it is, I'm not going to do it for other people. But I think there are some things here that are of interest to everybody, and I think hopefully, as I said in my earlier videos, hopefully this message will get to Donald Trump. And there are in here various remedies. Now, these remedies have to be, you know, they remedies are done to break the karmic bonds of a person, and really you have to have that person's permission to do this. So anybody could do these remedies if Donald Trump gave them his permission. So he doesn't have to come to me, but if he gives permission for this, those remedies can be done on his behalf. Okay, this bit jumped out at me, and I haven't published any of this before, so this is new. And it says, "As far as we are concerned, we do not blame the one who gets cheated. We blame only the cheater. The cheater accumulates bad karma by cheating others, whereas the former gets rid of his bad karma to that extent." It's saying, you know, don't be distressed when bad things happen in your life, because basically you're clearing your karma here. And if you get cheated, you must have cheated people in the past. Question, will he be in danger or be assassinated? And the answer to this says, no. I have predicted in his life to live up to
certain date, and in this period it was possible, but now it is not possible for him to be assassinated. So he's lived beyond the date of what he should have died, actually, basically it's saying here. Living beyond a certain date is also promised for him, and he will live into a certain date, and he may even live longer, but there is doubt about that, since he is not performing any of the suggested remedies. So it's saying he wouldn't be assassinated, but he might not live to the full length that he's capable of because he hasn't done the remedies to clear the karma in his way.
All of this raises so many questions, doesn't it? Really, I mean, we've got those people who actually saw the shooter on the rooftop and were trying to warn the authorities, and I was really sort of amazed that that they could seem to turn a blind eye to this. I mean, what do you think? I mean, this was just like what happened at the time of the attempted assassination, or the actual assassination of Kennedy, where the shooter was immediately disposed of, and we never really got to the bottom of who or why Kennedy was shot. Now, let's just look at this little clip from the BBC. This is somebody that actually, a couple of people that were reporting on actually seeing the shooter, and nobody did anything about it.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring.
Now, surely a drone could have spotted a person on a roof with a rifle. I mean, it seems pretty self-evident to us now. But when you look at it again and look at it in retrospect, you think, I mean, surely it was a blind eye turned there. And a lot of people are also criticizing the female members of the security forces around Trump there too, because they say that she didn't get her holster, a gun holstered quickly. It seemed to be fumbling. So they're thinking, was it sheer ineptitude, or was this also a question that that perhaps some of the security services had been compromised somehow? Were people turning a blind eye? So there's always going to be these questions. But of course, sooner or later, I think somebody was going to have a pop at Trump, because the media, I mean, Nancy Pelosi also was very outspoken. They were trying to build up this idea that he was an absolute pariah who should be got rid of at all costs.
And he must be stopped. He cannot be president.
So I'm not surprised somebody, whoever this guy was that got shot up, on this young man, 20 years old, whoever he was, I mean, sooner or later, someone was going to have a go at him. It's almost like they did against Salman Rushdie. You put a fatwa out on him, and sooner or later someone's going to attack him. And the same thing happened here with Trump. And all this demonizing him, I mean, when Biden said Trump's now in the bullseye, I mean, that becomes a huge question, doesn't it? What does that mean? What was there an implication in that, or was that he's now our target or whatever? But when we see this happening, makes you wonder, was that some message that was being sent out to people to have a go at him? Because really, the whole of American politics has now got so shaken up, really, hasn't it? I mean, it's become such a quagmire of division. And from our point of view, as people around the world that really just want to see safe leaders put in position, it's become a terrifying sort of period in our history, because we've got it here in the UK. We've got people voting for a politician who got a smaller amount of the vote than ever before. In America, it seems you can't seem to trust your voting system, or it appears that way, certainly. And all around the world, we have so many problematic situations in France, in Europe, everybody, and Canada. You feel that the people that you have in power do not seem to represent the voice of the people. And if it seems to represent the voice of the people, it's dismissed as being popularist, as if people's votes don't count, people's ideas don't count. It's like only us, the intelligentsia, or the people in the universities, or the people who write the Guardian newspaper, seem to think that we're the only ones that should actually have any say in what actually goes on in the world. Anyway, so I just wanted to share with you some of those things from the Naadi and things like that. And I'm sure we're going to need to discuss some of these things. My feelings are that there is a hidden agenda going on here. There's much, much more to this than meets the eye. My feeling is that not only have we seen the legal system being distorted and used as a weapon, and this shouldn't be used on candidates from any side of politics. I mean, we need proper voting systems. We need to be able to respect and accept the law. And you end up not knowing one way or the other, do you? What do you think? Was the law, for example, completely abused, or whereas the other way was Trump abusing the law by saying he's convicted, because they wanted to get that word felon up there, didn't they? So that's another way. The person's a felon. We can't have a felon in charge of politics. So it's all gone completely belly up, hasn't it? Really. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I'm horrified by the way it's going. But these oracles and things and these insights we have for the future, I think the important thing to remember is that we've always got through it in the end, haven't we? I mean, we've been through so much as a species. I mean, we must have been nearly wiped out millions of times. There's been times when there's only been a handful of people on the earth to repopulate it, and somehow throughout all the millennia we've survived it, and we've outlived them all. The dinosaurs have gone. They were here for millions of years. All the sea creatures are gone that were there, but we're still here, and we've still got some form of higher consciousness. And my thought is that all this is here always to support the idea that human consciousness can continue. It's all about creating consciousness. The universe has created this universe, created this world around it, created this material existence that we live in order to support the possibility of consciousness, and for that consciousness ultimately to be able to transcend and leap beyond the physical material world and become the spirit, and so on, until the universe becomes conscious of being the universe, and we become conscious of being that universe. Or you could say it's God becoming conscious of his creation, or becoming conscious of being God through us. These are the thoughts I feel. So my thought is that this consciousness ultimately can't fail. Maybe it could fail in the human form and might develop somewhere else in the universe, and the human form might disappear for a while. But I think the human form has gone a long way, and all the great texts, all the great things like the Nadis that I've talked about, all the great Puranas of India, as you said, the teachings of the future that come through the Indian texts, all the great religions of the world, all of them ultimately talk to the ascent of humankind, the ascent of human consciousness, and the coming ultimately of a golden age. And all what we're seeing happening is gradually the ending of the age of iron, the age of Kali Yuga, the ending of the age of Pisces, the ending of the dark ages, as we move now into a much more bright and better future. It's going to come. Human consciousness will awake. And as I've said, because a lot of you are here to me for the first time, as I say, this great awakening doesn't happen like some great descent from the sky. It happens because each person awakens one at a time, like millions of candles lighting the world. One person awakes and it awakens another. One awakes and it spreads and it rubs off. And Just as we're seeing so much diversity and difficulty and conflict and lack of unity in the world, so also simultaneously, there's a spiritual awakening going on very slowly. And it's my understanding and my belief and my feeling that there's going to come a great awakening in the world. It will start with you and me, all of us gradually waking up, becoming more aware, becoming more awake as human beings, beginning to see beyond the normal material and beginning to see the great oneness of existence. Each of us are going to do that one at a time. But gradually, there's going to be some very great beings also step into this world, not just, a second coming of a Christ sort of figure. It will be multiple beings, multiple people are going to come to this world as awakened beings. Some of them are already here. And it's going to help the world. The world is going to awake because that's why we are here. We are here to become awakened beings. And we're on the threshold now of a new age. And when that happens, you get a lot of rumbles. You get a lot of earth changes as well. You'll get a lot of shaking of the earth. Even the physical world will shake. But it's ultimately for the good. It's ultimately so that we can all become truly awakened beings. And what do we mean by that? We mean that we know directly the truth. We know directly the bliss behind existence. We know directly that ultimately everything is very simple. Everything is just the unfolding, the flowering of love. So anyway, I've gone off, but I hope you enjoy this show. I'm going to show you a few more at the end of some of my other predictions. But if you've come here for the first time, again, don't forget to subscribe. Go and have a look at my website. Have a look at my webinars, which I think many of you are beginning to sign up for and I think may enjoy. And have a look at the Naadi options that we also offer on the site. Anyway, thanks for joining me again. See you soon. Bye for now.
If you look back at my earlier predictions, and in particular the predictions I made on the newspaper, the Sun's website, I did actually say on there, the actual words were, there will be a flu epidemic linked to bioterrorism.
And my thoughts are that Liz Truss will make it to the final, be the next PM. I think she will actually have a final battle between her and Rishi Sunak. We've not seen the full end of Boris Johnson either, I tell you. But Rishi Sunak actually will eventually, I feel, be the next leader of the Conservatives. So I think there's going to be a few conflicts that Britain's going to be drawn into, including I think Russia is going to take some moves against Ukraine. I think she will make it past her platinum jubilee, which comes up this year. But I think after that, we'll see a sudden and quick deterioration in the Queen's health. And I think we might lose the Queen towards the end of 2022. There's going to be a huge backlash from over the Netflix programs and screening, because I feel it comes out at a bad time. Charles will come to become King Charles, but his reign, I feel, will be short. I said that Prince Charles would be hit by an egg. And of course, there it is, all in the press today. The marvellous person she is. She does something extraordinary. That could even put her life a little bit at risk with the way she did this. Is there something also there that's not being spoken about fully? Did they also discover something with Kate that wasn't quite right? A huge swarm of people knocking the doors of Europe and America. And I feel that Ukraine conflict is going to be a kind of a grinding conflict that goes on and on. I also feel that there's something going to happen in the Middle East as well. I feel as if there's going to be a sudden and unexpected thing happen in the Middle East. So I feel they're going to take it into their own hands, and I feel we're going to get a strike from Israel. This is going to be one of the significant things in 2023. I've said it before and I say it again. I feel Israel, with the help from the USA, will strike the Iranian nuclear facilities. I said that there would be an earthquake that would shake New York. At this time, I've been sensing that for a while that there's going to be a big earthquake of some sort. And this could well come up during April period. But I'm seeing a bridge collapsing, actually the whole infrastructure of it going.